Well, hello there. This is Christopher Tarantola, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. We are reaching for the stars. We just put the minimal Kerbal Space Station in orbit around Minimus, and so now we are going to go to Duna. And so we have about 6 days before our launch window hits, and since I don't have some of the mods that make you do construction time, I could go ahead and build something and stick it out there and launch it all before that 6 days hits. Right, so here's my plan. I want to have 2 probes. One probe that goes and maps Ike and then lands on Ike, and then a second probe that goes and maps Duna and lands on Duna. And we're going to have 2 different probes, but they're going to have the same transfer stage and the same ascent stage. So it's going to be a twofer on this one, and it's going to maximize the amount of science we get from this mission. So we're going to start with actually the very first thing we're going to put on here is a little octagonal strut, believe it or not. That is going to be the start here. And I'm going to click this and just move all the way up. Not all the way up, but, you know, a lot higher. Right, so I'm going to start with the strut, and then I'm going to go to the science thing over here, and we're just going to put an altimetry scanner on it, and we want it to go this. Is it? Yeah, my snap is on. Just snap it. So yeah, we want it to snap that way. And then I'm going to Control C to turn my snapping off, and I'm going to translate it over a little bit and try and center it as much as I can. That actually looks pretty darn close, so I'm going to keep that. One of the other thing I need to do is I'm going to move it up. It's kind of sunk into that strut, and so I just want to have it attached at the top there like that. And then I'm going to take one of these the scan multispectral sensor, and I'm just going to throw this on to the side here. And these little gray bars here, we just want to stick it underneath those gray bars, so that we want to turn Control C, our snapping back on, so that when we place it here, and this extend, it will not clip this guy. And there's a little bit of clipping there, but that is normal and fine for a Kerbal Space Program. So we're going to go ahead and retract that. And then we're going to put a little decoupler, little stacker decoupler, and we're going to press W to turn it around. Where the arrow is pointing is where it's going to decouple from, and it is always going to stay attached to the other end. And so that is going to give us just enough clearance to then put our heat shield. And we're going to WW this as well and stick it over here. Now there's 2 clicks here. See, I can be here or there. And I'm going to click there. What that does is it eliminates the shroud. It's basically attaching directly to it. Now it clips it a little bit much for my taste, so I'm going to Control C to remove my snapping, and I'm going to just bring it down till it looks like it's more appropriate there. Now Control C again to turn my snapping back on, and so there's that. Now what are we going to attach to the bottom of this? We're going to have I'm going to go ahead and call this my Duna probe mission. And just save that. Not the most creative name, but I feel y'all will forgive me for this. We're going to put a Probodobodine, CS rather, and then we'll put some batteries on this thing, and 2 batteries ought to do it. And yeah, this will be the so this part is going to be jettisoned off after we've done our orbits and gotten our science, and then we'll send it into the atmosphere, and that can be jettisoned off. In fact, we can right click and remove the shroud, disable the shroud, and then HS jettison not heat shield jettisoned not staged. We can click that and it will add a stage to jettison the heat shield automatically. And so we'll do that. Okay, now that stage needs to be here. That's going to go off before that goes off. And so on this thing, we want to put some science on it, right? So honestly, before we put that on there, let's see, how am I going to stick it in there? I want the Kerbal engineering system to be up in there. You know what I could do is I can do it like this. Attach it to the bottom there, and then throw the batteries on top. Perfect. And it sticks out in the corners there, but that is perfectly fine. Okay. And then we want to have our communications. We're going to need that for sure. And we don't want to stick through our heat shield, so I'll stick it down a little bit, and that'll be fine, as you'll see in a minute. And then we also need one of these. And I don't think I want to stick it like that quite. Why don't we do it like that? I think that looks good. And then how heavy is this thing? This is has a mass of 0.03, and that has a mass of 0.005, and that's a 0.005 as well, so we'll stick that. That's 0.01. And we'll also stick this guy on here, just to the side a little bit. And we'll also stick this guy on here, just to the other side a little bit. I don't know, maybe what we should do is stick this guy in the center here. And then put this guy on the side. I'm actually going to turn my snap off, so it will just freely and grab this guy and stick it there. Yeah, like that. Okay, now we want to bring a couple mystery goos with us, maybe? I don't know. You know, I think I want to put that on this stage here. That makes a lot of sense to me. We won't get it from the atmosphere or from the surface of Duna, but it'll also be a lot leaner. I don't know. Maybe we do. I had a plan. I'm kind of maybe got to change it on the fly here a little bit though. We want to have it inside this heat shield though, but what we can do to do that is just translate it in. So take our snap off, Control C, and translate it in. Not too much, but just enough to say it's believable, and it's definitely inside that heat shield protection now. So we'll do that like that. And it actually starts to make it look like it has a face. And you notice I have a new flag here. I made that flag all by my lonesome. I did kind of steal some pieces of this eagle from other people, to be honest, but I did make it myself. I highly modified it to where I can call that my own. It's a derivative of somebody else's work. And then the rest of this is just all my own work. So pat on the back to me for that. Now, let's see, what's next? We need to, kind of looks like he has a little top hat. It's kind of funny looking. And it's a whole different face over here. A little nose sticking out. Okay, so we need to have some photovoltaics. Now, since this is going in the atmosphere, we are going to need the retractable. These up here they will extend, but they will not retract. These here will extend and retract, and that's an important thing. Turn our snap back on. And we probably just need 2 of these. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, we're going to turn these upside down, like this. And so that way when they extend... Oh, no, that's not how I wanted it. I guess I did want it normal. We don't want, just for cosplay reasons, if nothing else, we want these flaps to open up and not clip into that stuff, right? And so then that will be our photovoltaics there. And it looks like a little guy. He's got little legs and really long arms, and quite funny, actually. Not necessarily intentional, but funny all the same. So the next thing that we want is to have, we got all the science we want on there. We might want to have a couple landing legs. What do you think? It's going to be here. No, it's going to be here. Yeah, we want some landing struts. Landing struts. Where are the little landing struts? Landing struts, landing struts. I'm looking for the landing struts. Where on earth are the landing struts? There they are. Bam. Right there. Okay. I'm sure y'all saw those like 15 minutes ago and like, it's right there. Okay, now, honestly, I don't know the best way to do this. One way to do it is to just stick like one of these on here. The crash tolerance is 80. 80. And we can just land on that sucker like that. How heavy is that? That is 0.25 tons. That's 0.125 tons, so I'd probably rather have this. I mean, it brings it from 700 kilograms to 820, so it's about 130 kilograms. And what about these struts? These struts are 0.015, so if that's at 830 kilograms, and I put like 4 of these on here. Actually, I only need 3, but I'll put 4 of them on there. Yeah, and then that brings it to 764. So that's clearly the better way to go. Yeah, that's clearly the better way to go. And start, extend it. No, I don't like how it's clipping through. So I wonder if I can move these down a little bit. And now they're kind of lost out here. But you know what we need? We need one of these reaction wheels as well. Gonna need one of those, and so that makes all the difference right there, right? Gives us just that extra little space, and makes all the difference with that thing too. So, perfect. Now we can go and we can retract these. We get a nice little lander here on top of our satellite, which will work one and the same. You can get retract as well. And we'll have a couple of mystery goos that will actually go onto the planet, which I think is fantastic. So one will be in the atmosphere low, flying low, and one will be landed on Duna. And so that will be our first probe. Now, we do want to give it a little bit of go, just for orbital maneuvers. Now, how much go do we want to give it? Now, this is going to be a measly 500. I don't think that's enough. So what we might want to do is up our game a bit. First of all, we're going to want to have one of these decouplers on here. And we're going to want to go, maybe just try going with this, right? And creating a rounded cylinder. Smooth curve, if you will. And we'll go with the bigger engine. That give us a more thrust to weight ratio, about 1500. I wonder if I can change the shape of my curve. I can. And what that could do is, yeah, put it like this. Put it like that, and that just gives me 200 extra delta V just by doing that. Yeah, I think that looks fantastic. That's what I'll do. 1700 should be enough to do my orbital maneuvers, don't y'all think? I don't know. I can... Yeah. Yeah, 26, I like having that extra just so I can do whatever I want with it. If it gets too heavy, we can always change it, but I'm going to go ahead and save this and zoom out a little bit. No, I'm going to zoom back in, because now what we are going to do is we're going to take this off, and we are going to alt-click that guy. We want to copy him. And the reason we want to copy him is we're going to create a decoupler, and we're just going to stick him on there. And this guy is going to be our Ike probe. He doesn't need the heat shield, but he does need these two guys. So I wonder... wonder what I can do to make that happen. You know, these aren't going to go like that, and those are going to be replaced with these here. Yeah. Control C. And do it like this. Yeah. And we're going to need to put our delta V stage directly attached to it, because that is going to be how we land this sucker. And we'll need to have these two attached on the side. So I think we will I want to take that off and just alt click that guy this way. I don't know that I want it so long, and I should have just, yeah, anyway, that doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. So this stage seems to have 800 delta V, but it's also assuming it's pushing all this stuff above it. I wonder what its actual delta V would be. I wonder if there's a good way I can figure that out. I wonder. Go. Yeah, and so this guy will land on Ike. I wonder, though. I have these landing stabilizers. Where are they? Here they are. Landing stabilizers. And these, when they come down, if we can get them low enough, you know, those will give us a much wider base and allow us to land in some much more funky terrain and stay upright. I like that. They're just low enough there, and so we can retract them. I don't know why I have to retract each one individually. And they do add quite a bit of weight, though. How heavy are they? And they're 0.05 versus 0.015. They're about 5 times the weight of these guys, but they are much wider stance. Now, one thing I can do to save weight is reduce it by 1 and have only 3. Another thing I can do is I'm going to take my Control C and take my snap off and just move it down just a little bit. I think that's still believable. So, yeah, move it down right there like that, and that's great, right? Now, one of the things you got to do with these landing stabilizers, this is part of the USI, is you got to go and you got to manually go to Gear and click on these and toggle stabilizers, because they're not considered landing legs for one reason or another. They're something different, I guess, which is not a big deal, right? I just did it, and now when I hit the gear, these will come down. And yeah, I think I like that. I do. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and give that a little extra delta V there, just for the sake of having it. And oh, and I got to put these 2 things on there. So what I was going to do for that, and having the 3 legs instead of the 2 might ink that up a bit, was I was just going to go back here. Let's see, this is 0.03 tons, and that is 0.03 tons. So I put this on one side, and like this on the other. They should cancel each other out now. Landing stabilizers kind of hink that up a bit. They're kind of in the way. That kind of sucks a little bit. 0.05, 0.03. So you don't want this. You want to try and keep your center of mass as centered as possible. This kind of takes it off. But what I could do actually is I could. Well, where did it go? Okay, that was weird. I'm getting a little glitches. I actually had this thing. Turn my snap back on for this. Yeah, and have it like that. That would be a little bit more even there. So probably a smarter way to do it. I wonder if I don't want to just take this little top part and throw it up on here somehow. I'm going to save this. Go here. I'm actually going to have a couple of these diagonal struts here. What I'm going to do is I have a stick separator like that, and go back to my science here. Put the altimeter on one side and this guy on the other. Yeah. Now, for my own sake, I'm gonna just move that out a bit so that it's not hitting there. And actually, I think I want it 90 degrees. Like that. Yeah, because we want it to, when it extends, go out sideways. right? Now, it is kind of clipping in there. I don't like that. I might have to add one of these. So, what I'll do is, helps if I take that off and Alt-click and just add another one of those for clearance. And then each of these can move up. There we go. Yeah, this thing's getting a little bit glitchy. I'm wondering if I have too much going on here. So, yeah. I think that's what we'll do. Gives a little extra length, but the extra weight is minimal. And this is all going to go into a shroud anyway, so I'm not worried about the aerodynamics of it. That looks a little bit silly, having that in the air, but there's not much I can do about that. You know, what I could do to save some weight, though, is go to one of these here, and I could just disable the shroud. No need for a shroud, because it's going to be in a fairing anyway for the aerodynamic part of it. Yeah, so I mean that's not how you would ever do it. It'd totally jack up your gimbaling. But you know, yeah, we'll do that. This is Kerbal Space Program. We don't have to be completely realistic, right? Yeah. So here we go. I think we have our Duna probe and our Ike probe. Don't y'all think? That would be great. And I'll worry about all the staging later. Okay, so we're going to save this. And we're going to start our transfer stage. So, one thing I do want to figure out is so the 264 is just this stage without that. So that's to land, basically. You know, not quite, because we'll be using some of that delta V before we take that off. So, it'll go like that. Now this will go off first. And then this guy. And then that guy. And likewise, this will hit, and then what will come off first? First it'll be that, then it'll be that, and then it'll be the jettison. So the jettison is last. I think I need to switch these two. Yeah, so first we'll take off the top, then we'll jettison our fuel, and then we'll jettison our thing. Now, one extremely important thing I forgot on this is we kind of need parachutes for this to work, right? Kind of need a parachute or two. So I need to go over here to parachutes. And I really wish I could just throw that on the top here. But that won't work. Because it doesn't surface mount. So one of the things I need to do then is just go with these. And they are huge. I mean, humongous. You frickin' mungus. Could totally jack up my design here, man. Oh, what do I do here? How do I make this happen? So I think I'm gonna have to add some orthogonal struts just to be able to fit this stuff. And so what we'll do is, I wish you could put that in there, like stage around it. That would be really nice. That's how they do it in real life, is they'll have the heat shield covering up the parachute, and then when the heat shield goes off, it literally will pull out the drogue chute. But alas, that's not how we got it in Kerbal Space Program. So we will do, that's 0.001, 0.001, so it's 6 one way, half dozen the other, so I'll use this one. And then I'll attach my parachutes to it. It's still very derpy. I wonder if I can just move this stuff over to here, though, now that I have the extra room. I mean, it's hard to make that look good. This does not look good. Whatever. I think that's how I'm gonna leave it, though. Like that. All right. So, good thing I remember that crisis averted there, and it would have just been an impactor, not a lander, which might have been defeated the purpose of even having the heat shield. So now, so now we go back to our transfer stage, right? So we put a decoupler here, and then we have a shroud protective shield. Bam, 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 and then we can close it. And that's our thing now. One thing you can want to do is clamshell deploy. I like having that on. I like to increase my injection force to be as maximal. And yeah, we'll do that. Now it won't quite show here, but once you get out there, it'll do fine. So okay, now we do a transfer stage, and we can probably just throw that puppy on there, followed by a poodle, and that'll give us about 2,800 transfer, and I think that will be fine. What's happened here? Something has changed. I'm gonna have to check. I'll check my staging at the end. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so yeah, and I definitely want this stage to be at the top, and that way this stage I can leave attached to here and have more delta V, because it's more important that I have delta V to land on Ike than it is to once I enter our atmosphere of Duna, then it's all aero braking and parachutes. So here we go. Do a Rockomex brand decoupler, and then a couple of orange guys. Do a mainsail engine, and throw some tail fins on here. Oop, I'm hitting the wrong thing. There we go. Throw some tail fins on there, and I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead. Got 2750 there. What I can do the next is actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw them on here, and I'll show you why. So I throw these on here, and then I'm just going to throw some solid rocket boosters. That should be more than enough delta V to get us to where we want to go. I'll reduce my thrust to about 1.5. And then what we do here is we put one of these on here. Because it's slanted and it's directional, and it defaults to this direction, that's why I put it there. So now what I can do is I can just grab it at the radial decoupler and move it to where I actually want it. Right, and so right about there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and so then I want to strut this thing so that these don't torsion back and forth while we're on a scent that can lead to difficulty in controlling the craft. And so put that about the 45-degree mark. Instead of trying to like zoom in and finagle, you just bring it to the backside where you want it in line, and it will automatically click to the front side anyway. So that'll save you a little bit of time trying to put your struts if you're OCD like me and you still like to have your struts nice and straight. It can work against you for like stuff like this, but no big deal, right? Just throw your struts on there. That looks fantastic. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to have stability clamps. And it's a little bit high off the ground, so I'll shift click and bring it on down with my mouse wheel. And back up, click it right there, and that's perfect, right? And we have clearance, but it's just above. And that is a good looking rocket if I ever seen one. And great Duna probe. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now we need to work our staging. So those will go first, and then these that will go with the decouplers at the same time, and this engine, this main cell engine as well. Then we have that with our poodle for our transfer stage. The fairing will go before that because if we still need a fairing on when we're firing our poodle, we've done something extremely wrong. And stack decoupler. Let's zoom in on this a little bit and see. Okay, so yeah, we're looking at this stack decoupler, and we want the same engine. Yeah. Now this guy, what is that guy? Yeah, actually, we're going to want that to happen like that. So after we do our poodle, then we will detach the Duna mission first, and then after we detach the Duna mission, which, yeah, this engine can go with that. So we detach the Duna mission, and then we detach the Ike mission, right? And then after the Ike mission, we want we're stacking for 2 at a time. So we will want this decoupler and that decoupler, and it needs to be on its own, and it needs to come down here. And then where's this decoupler at? Oh, okay. That's not the right one. Oh, I'm thinking of this one. So this is it? No. Is that it? This it? Where's this little decoupler here? Oh, that's it. Okay. So we'll bring that down. And so those won't go at the same time because by that time they'll be separated, right? And so they'll go at the same time respectively to their mission. Okay, and then after these decouple, that decouples, then we want to decouple this. And that doesn't have that decouple. So that guy is right there. So that'll go next. Then this is our, well, yeah, and then we'll jettison our heat shield, and then we'll hit our parachutes. We'll save that. That is our staging stack. Perfect. Now, that is our Duna mission. And I just want to before I launch, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to double check. So I'll see you guys out on the launch pad. And actually, I'll see you in orbit, because y'all have seen me do the launch ascent orbits plenty now, and y'all don't y'all see it fast forward, but y'all don't need to have me walk you through that. So I'll see you then.